Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Blair Cobb is going to get himself a big money fight. If you didn't see what he did to, what's his name, Maurice Hooker tonight, you need to go back and rewatch that fight. It's already posted to YouTube. Crazy how quick people put the fights out there, right? But, you know, the thing about Blair Cobb, his previous fight, he lost to, Alexis Rocha, and he lost by knockout. And I honestly have to attribute that loss to Freddie Roach's style. He likes offense. Freddie Roach likes knockouts. He likes the aggressor. However, not everybody can be Manny Pacquiao, okay? And Blair the Flair, he was looking good with Freddie Roach. Had like 15 wins, had a lot of knockouts, and he did have flaws. He did have vulnerabilities. But he looked good, and with the whole woohoo Ric Flair type thing that he has going on, and the big bright red hair, Blair Cobb is highly marketable. But he got in there and he met his match with Alexis Rocha. I said in another video, that fight between watching Blair Cobb and Alexis Rocha fight, to me, that was like watching Manuel Marquez in there with Katsides. Just the combination punching, the straight, although Rocha is southpaw and Marquez is orthodox, but the way Marquez throws his combinations and that right hand, and Rocha reminded me of Marquez. So fast forward to where we are now. I did not think Blair Cobb was going to win against Hooker. I said, because he changed trainers. He left Freddie Roach. And that's the point I was trying to make about Freddie Roach being more about aggression and being an offensive fighter. He left Freddie Roach to make a change because obviously he felt like something needed to change. And he hooked up with his new team, and Blair Cobb toned down the antics, toned down all the animated BS in the ring, and he was more about his business. And he dazzled Maurice Hooker. He got an early lead in the fight with 3 knockdowns, and his footwork, man. Maurice Hooker just couldn't catch up to Blair Cobb. And Blair Cobb was throwing that straight left, getting through the guard because Maurice Hooker's head wasn't moving, so that made it a little easier to get to him. But Blair Cobb showed that he went back to work. He said, I think he has a lot of pride too, but he said, I'm not going to allow myself, Mr. Redhead, big red hair and big mouth, woo, Ric Flair wannabe, right? I'm not going to give people the satisfaction of seeing me get clipped and not come back and get back on a winning streak. And he went back, man. He went back into the lab, and he did his due diligence, and he made some tweaks. And I think it was good having another set of eyes, I'm talking about as a coach, to look and see what he did great and things where he needed some improvement. And definitely defense was one. Now, I will tell you in the fight, there were some moments where he still looked sloppy, he still looked vulnerable, but Maurice Hooker just didn't have what it took to get to him. There was some rumors about Maurice Hooker and struggling to cut weight, and then also some depression with losing someone who was like a mother figure to him. And all that comes into play. We've talked about this in other videos. You can't leave your mind behind. But with Blair the Flair, he's on to another fight, a big fight. I heard when he and Maurice Hooker were talking at the end of the fight, he was saying something about fighting Vergil Ortiz. Now, I'm going to be real with you. Vergil Ortiz should violently knock out Blair Cobb. But if Blair Cobb was able to make, I'm going to call his refinements mind-blowing adjustments, right? So if he was able to make mind-blowing adjustments to come into a fight with Maurice Hooker, where there were a couple of times where it looked like Maurice Hooker was going to get Blair the Flair out of there. But Blair was using his footwork, man, and his speed. People, if you didn't watch that fight, you need to watch it. I was watching that saying, man, and the other thing that I want to point out, stamina. Stamina. They say speed kills, say power kills. Man, stamina kills, okay? If Blair the Flair didn't have the right stamina, he would have lost that fight. At some point, he would have slowed. Maurice Hooker would have caught up to him. Maurice Hooker, although he had struggles losing the weight, he didn't have any stamina issues in that fight. At least it didn't look so to me. But with Blair Flair going to a fight with Vergil Ortiz, you got to favor Vergil Ortiz, okay? But Vergil Ortiz is looking to get a stay busy fight. Obviously, he won his fight tonight, and get in there with Spence, or get in there with what's his name, Terrence Crawford. But we know that's not going to happen. So really, what you got now that Ortiz is back active, I doubt they make the fight between Cobb and Ortiz. That's more like a Boots Ennis, Vergil Ortiz. That's a good fight for Ortiz, okay? Ortiz or Boots Ennis. Oh, so I put it this way. Boots Ennis, Vergil Ortiz, Conor Benn. Mix it up. And Stanley Eunice. Mix those four up. Keith Thurman's not fighting any of them. We already know that, okay? So I'm not even going to mention Keith Thurman. But Stanley Eunice, Vergil Ortiz, Conor Benn. Who's the other name I just said? See, I'm bugging. It's four of them, right? Boots Ennis. Boots, Conor Benn, Vergil Ortiz, and Stanley Eunice. Those are the fights we need to see. Because nobody's getting a shot at Spencer Crawford. Those guys are trying to figure things out. So they need to fight. They need to stay active. And they might as well get in there with each other. But if not, you can see Blair Flair getting a shot at one of those big names, because he kind of earned it. And I think he's going to come back, and no matter who he fights, I think Blair Flair is going to have moments. I'm just not sure he's going to be able to make it past round 6, because he just can't lunge in, come straight out. Although he's using good leg movement and good footwork, sometimes his head is stationary. And when you get into with a guy like Boots, a vicious, aggressive fighter like Conor Benn, I think Blair Flair and Conor Benn is the fight to make. But Vergil Ortiz, Boots Ennis, Stanley Eunice, he needs to stay away from those guys. I just think Blair Flair gets hurt. But yeah, I just want to do a quick video on that, man. Let me tell you, Blair Flair is all right. He wasn't all loud and animated, and I think that was necessary, man. If you want people to take you serious, conduct yourself in a respectful manner. You can still keep up with the antics and the whole marketing thing, do that. He lives in Hollywood, California, so he's super Hollywood, super extra with everything, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's good to see somebody out there enjoying themselves and showing their personality, a colorful personality. And he seems to be a good human being. But at the same time, when you get in that ring, you got to be about your business. Because if he was about his business, when he fought Rocha, he could have beat Rocha. But he was too busy acting the fool, and Rocha was tearing his ass up. But that being said, man, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. More videos to come, man. I'll be heading back home probably sometime this week. Then I'll be back to the lab, back in the office. Right now, I'm chilling, man. But I just wanted to touch up on a couple of things while I have some time. I haven't had time the last couple of days. But Blair Flair looked good. So more to come from him. Maurice Hooker, I'm not sure what he's going to do, but he needs to figure it out, because a guy like Maurice Hooker, who has all that power, all that talent, a 2-time world champion, and I'm not saying this in a disrespectful manner, if he can't beat Blair Flair, he needs to figure out what his next move is going to be, because is it him? Is it that Bomac sucks? I don't know. But that being said, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Shout out to all the veterans. Boom, y'all be cool, and I'm in the breeze.